Weren't at the game last night, were you, Mus?
No, I was sitting comfortably in Manhattan Beach for those 7 hours.
Sounds easier that way.
Yeah, I'll be at one of them though coming up. I guarantee that.
Nice. I know I wanted to ask you, I know you mentioned last season that you felt like you hadn't done enough to promote the program to sort of get out boots on the ground, grassroots stuff. I wonder kind of as you head into this year too, like what you feel like you've done to change direction on that. And I know you've obviously had the videos that you've done before football games. I'm curious like where those ideas come from as you're considering how to promote the program better in year two.
Yeah, I would say one, like what have we done different? We've been a lot more active on football game days on campus. Whether it's going by frats, sororities. Um, you know, there's a there's a student group that's coming to practice today, a group, and then there's another group coming tomorrow. Um, we're going to try to have a practice on campus after the Cal Poly game between, the first two games will be a practice that, that's basically at the student rec center for anybody to come watch that's on campus. And we try to go to other events, to watch other programs on campus. So those are just some of the things, but the ideas, whether it's the football videos or whatever, is every morning we come in, we have a think tank. We throw a whole bunch of ideas off the wall, some good, some bad, some make it out to the public, a lot don't. But after the ideas are thrown around and we say three or four that we like, I then go home and ask my wife and daughter, and they have their own opinions on stuff that should or shouldn't go out. And then we go for it. And so, I think that we've, done more. And you're right, Ryan. Like I did feel like, you know, we did we did a lot last year, but not enough.
So your
And
daughter is like
and
the
our play we want our players to promote too. I think that's a big, you know what I mean? That's something we've talked to them about as well. And we've seen it, like our players have been way more active on doing podcasts, and we're trying to set them up with interviews. So I do think our players have tried to get out there a lot more as well.
So how critical is your daughter when she's editing your video ideas? She
Very
pretty
critical.
intense.
Very, very, very critical. Yes, for sure.
Coach, obviously you have all these summer practices, then you get to the fall and you start doing your fall practices, you learn a ton about the team, but then you actually have two exhibition games like this. What do you think you learned most about the team just during these two exhibition games?
We got to figure out a way to score better, Chase. We need to shoot fouls better. We need to shoot threes better. We need to score more in transition. But it's super hard, without Elijah and without Rodney Rice out there, from an offensive standpoint. But both exhibition games, like we're really positively happy, not necessarily just with the results, but we felt like if we went to LMU and Stan Johnson, those guys could promote it, and they did. They did a great job when the bus pulled up 2 hours before the game. There was a pep rally on campus, and then they had a separate booster event that they fed, some of their boosters that have really good seats at LMU. That was a really good environment. And then obviously we knew going to Grand Canyon. I knew it would be a really good crowd. I did not know that it would be a sellout, and I did not know it would be standing room only, and I did not know that the Havoc would be dressed up in costumes. But it tested our team because when they went on a run, we were able to now play two road games, withstand some runs with the crowd behind them. I do think that'll really, really help us. I thought for Jerry Easter to get the start as a freshman at Grand Canyon and play in front of a standing room only crowd, um, I thought he did a great job having composure in an environment that, it's, I mean, they're 32-1 in their last, 2 years in that building. So a lot of really positives from that. And then there's a lot of things that we know we got to get better at from an offensive standpoint. And, I like our players will self-admit that we probably spend more time on defense than offense, and that's going to have to change, this week. We're going to have to flip that and spend a little bit more time on our offensive game, even though we have great respect for, Cal Poly plays a really unique style with all the threes they take and scoring 80 plus points. So, but we got to fix ourselves offensively a little bit more.
Coach, I'm sure as you know, free throw shooting has been an obsession for USC fans going back at least 10 years now. The team looks great in practice when they're shooting free throws. Do you think it was the environment at Grand Canyon that affected free throw shooting, or what else could it have been?
Well, I think it's yeah, certainly when you shoot a foul shot, where when I say when, meaning what time of the game it is. And then certainly when are on the road, that can have a slight effect on, but no excuses. We got to shoot. I would hope that we shoot in the 70s, and it doesn't look like like an all-star MLB player's batting average. We can't have a shooting percentage that looks like a batting average. That's not a recipe for success, Guy. But we're working on it. And I don't think it's just an obsession with USC Trojan fans. Anywhere I've been, the word free throw, fans, feel that shot because it's free and there's no defense that you should make them. And then the other thing is who's getting fouled? Are your better foul shooters getting to the foul line, or are guys that historically have had trouble, making free throws? All those things become super important because I have decisions to make once we get in the bonus. Where is the ball going? Is it going to players that draw fouls but struggle at the foul line, or is it going to guys that can convert at the foul line once you get in the bonus? So those are some of the things that we have learned through the two exhibition games. Hey, we might not, this guy might not be a go-to player when we're in the bonus if he can't convert foul shots. And conversely, if a guy is a really good foul shooter, and we get in the bonus at the under 9 minute mark, we probably need to run more plays and get that dude the ball more.
Mus, I know you had point guard questions last year when Desmond kind of stepped into that spot. He hadn't played a ton of point guard. It seems like you again have point guard questions, especially with Elijah not being able to play to start the season. How is that situation different, maybe from stepping in when you guys did last year?
Yeah, so I would say, Ryan, when we built this team, the point guard was going to be Elijah, and Rodney was going to be a combo guard and convert a lot more to the point than what he had played at Maryland. That was the recruiting conversations. Jerry Easter was going to be a combo guard. Jordan Marsh was going to come in with those other guys and play some point. Ryan Cornish is basically a combo guard that could slide over there if need be. So, having said all that, without Rodney playing in the two exhibitions, without Elijah playing, actually super impressed with what Jerry has done at the point guard position. Is he a true point guard? No. Is he learning and continuing to evolve as a point guard? Absolutely. Are we super happy with the way that he's progressed? Yes. He's a great rebounder for a point guard. I know it sounds weird, but he's a great shot blocker for a point guard. He alters shots from that position. He's super strong getting to the cup. Not a lot of freshmen can absorb body blows like Jerry can. So all those things are super positives. And then areas we need him to grow on is, hey, when we come up with a jump ball play, you've got to execute what that calls for and what we worked on. And understanding second and third options in our offense are going to be super important for him as a point guard as well. And then with Jordan, Marsh, he's just been wired to score. And so we're trying to get him to understand that on this team, his role is much, much different than it was last year. And um, the assists, the ball moving, all those things are what we need out of that position when he's in the game. So, am I concerned about the position? Yes. Was I concerned last year about it, Ryan? Yes. Um, I'm less concerned right now, though, because we're getting some things, done out of that position that historically Anthony Black did, Cody Martin did, Lindsey Drew did, which means getting rebounds out of your area, getting loose balls, defending your position, all those things. We feel like we still got to get better scoring the ball at that position at times. We got to get better for sure at the point guard position, making free throws for sure, because the ball is usually in your point guard's hands late game. So that is a area that yeah, our antennas are up. What's going to happen there late game? But there are some super positives too as well.
Is the expectation then that a little bit more is on Rodney's shoulders as the point guard, as kind of the one initiating the offense?
Yeah, I think Rodney will be, um, not necessarily maybe in the first game or two just because he's been out, but certainly the expectation and hope is that Rodney takes on a lot of that and that Jerry continues to evolve and that Jordan continues to understand exactly what we want and that Jordan that Marsh can understand how to make those around him better, and that Cornish can continue to slide over there a little bit more in practice and get maybe more reps than he has in the past and see where that goes.
Coach, speaking more on Elijah, what have you noticed from his journey to recovery after everything that he is facing?
Yeah, Jordan, or with Elijah, he's been, first of all, the car accident was its own kind of separate, um, thing that happened. He recovered out of that, great, fully healthy. Um, and then, he had the injury, unfortunately, just after, one practice. And so, mentally, for any young player, like he really, really, really wants to play. It's hurting him not to be out there with his teammates, but he's got his own clipboard at practice. He's diagramming when we put new plays in. He, in his own mind, again, I don't know what will happen medically and rehab wise, but in his own mind, like he thinks he's playing this year. And he's super determined and very, very focused from a rehab standpoint to suit up for us this year and have an impact on our team. Again, I have no idea. I can't predict the future on how the rehab goes and what the doctors and medical team and his own family. But that's where his mentality is. He's super engaged every day, and asking questions as if he's going to play 39 minutes next Monday night. So I've been really impressed with his maturity. He seems to be really loving being a student athlete on campus, and I see him talking to other students on campus and engaging and being a college student too, and that's super cool as well.
And speaking also on your assistant coach, you also have a long friendship with him. Can you talk a little bit more about that and having him a part of the coaching staff as well?
I'm sorry, as far as who?
Earl, your assistant
Yeah, yep,
coach, can you talk a little more about him and your history with him?
yep. So Earl Boykins is, a guy that when I was an assistant in Orlando, one of my jobs was to kind of oversee the minor leagues and when we called players up and although Earl was not a call up from the minor leagues with Orlando, he was a player that was at home playing at the Cleveland YMCA. And I suggested to John Gabriel that we, look at him on a 10-day contract. And so I was around Earl as an assistant coach there. And then when I got the job in Golden State, we went through three point guards that were not probably NBA ready. And Earl was the fourth point guard that we brought in that year. And I mean the relationship, the trust. His first game, I think he had 25 or 26 points in Denver. He didn't even know our offense. Um, then we worked together in Arkansas. He did a great job there of mentoring our players off the floor. He really wasn't a coach at Arkansas, but he was just learning the college game. And then what he did at UTEP on the floor as a coach, and now he's been great with us. He's been super involved in recruiting, developing relationships with guys both on the floor and off the floor. And you know, he's he's a guy that had a job when I got this job, and sometimes you want to look at people that are out of jobs and help the coaching fraternity. But in hindsight, Earl could have had a huge impact with us even in year one, and we're super glad that he's here with us now.
You added a couple players who can help you out defensively this season. So are you seeing like a defensive identity already after these two exhibition games?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if LMU and Grand Canyon are not. I don't know what their offense is going to look like during the course of the year, but based on those two and what we've seen in practice and what our players feel, when you hear our players talk to the media or amongst themselves or on a podcast, they're talking about toughness, and they're talking about defensive identities, and they're talking about the time that we devote in practice to defense. So I think the guys have taken pride in that side of the ball in two games that virtually are meaningless, other than just dress rehearsals. Um, but yes, I think Gabe Dines, all of a sudden now, anything around the rim gets challenged. I think, uh, with the athleticism of Ezra and Jacob, make us at the 4 or 5 super quick in defending ball screens when we want to switch. And they also do a great job of going vertical and rim protecting. So those three guys in particular, and then you add in Chad Baker Mazzara, who's running around. He has his own defensive scheme in his own mind. I don't know if he necessarily always follows the game plan or the game scheme that I've put out. But he's got this knack to create loose balls and create steals and fly around. And he confuses me, and he also confuses the offense on the other team, which is a good thing. And then Amarion Dickerson, like he takes incredible pride on the defensive end, and he's a great shot blocker at the small forward position. And then, as I've mentioned, Jerry Easter's altered a lot of shots in a very, very short amount of time in the two exhibition games.
So, Coach, obviously a ton of fresh faces this offseason, 10 additions to the transfer portal. I was wondering how that bodes from a purely cultural perspective, like as far as locker room culture continuity goes, as we sort of approach this final stretch of the offseason.
Yeah, I mean, I think this group, I'll point out guys like Ezra, have has he's tried to get the whole team over to his house a lot. I've tried to be even more engaging with the guys, getting them to my house, whether it's individually or collectively as a team or in small groups. Friday, they're coming over for Halloween. I don't know if many of them have ever celebrated Halloween with their head coach before, but this group's going to. Our Arkansas teams did. But yeah, I mean, I think the nature of whether it's college football team, whether it's college baseball team, basketball, we're all this culture trying to bring a group of guys together early and quick in a short amount of time. It's made it challenging, and then you want internal development during the course of the season as well. So, are we still getting to know each other? Absolutely. Do I feel like we got a little challenge going on right now in the month of October? Um, Anytime the coaches are outside of campus, they're supposed to take a picture if they're with another coach. Anytime the players are outside of the Galen Center or not on campus and they're bonding together, they're supposed to take a picture with each other. They send it to the strength coach. We send it to the strength coach, and we'll find out who wins once November 1 hits. So those are some of the, one example of the little chemistry, camaraderie games that we're playing with one another.
Nice, thank you.
Coach, Did Gabe's performance in the exhibitions surprise you? And did it have any effect on what you foresee his role as going forward this season?
Yeah, I would say it's a good question, Sky. Yeah, I don't want to say surprised us because we recruited him really hard, and other Big Tens schools like Northwestern were recruiting him really hard. So I don't I don't want to say it was a surprise. I would say we're really happy and excited about his productivity. Because we don't go live a lot, especially when you have two injured players. It's hard to go live with the risk of another guy potentially even just twisting an ankle. We can ill afford that with the season right around the corner. So live competition against somebody else, yeah, Gabe was great. And quite frankly, if he's going to play this well, we're going to have to play a little bit bigger lineup, meaning there was times in this exhibition season, Terrence Williams and Amarion Dickerson played some four. Um, we might have to, it might have to be Jacob and Ezra playing more of the four if Gabe's going to play that way. So we might change a little bit of our small ball and be more of a traditional bigger team as long as we can figure out offensive spacing and how to score with that unit.
Mus, I know you did a lot of work to promote at Arkansas too. I'm curious, like, since you've come to USC, what you've learned about the differences or challenges maybe of promoting a team, especially this basketball team in this market versus maybe past experiences you've had. Or maybe there's a similarity to, a place you've been before.
I mean, I would say, I just think LA and Fayetteville are,
A little different.
I mean, I've gone from two of the most, like, there could not be two different jobs as a basketball coach. I can only speak to, you know, um, I would say that, this year, because as a staff, we eat every day at Little Galen Center. Monday through Friday, we eat in there. Most of our players are eating in there. It's another way for us to bond. We're not going off campus and eating somewhere else. It allows us to eat with other student athletes on campus and ask them how their practices are going and games are going. Um, as I've walked through campus this year compared to last year, there's more excitement, there's more buzz, there's more recognition. I mean, I walked through campus last year. I could have put a backpack on and a pair of Ray-Bans and nobody would know who I was. Like, so now there's a little bit more of um, you know, conversation. Hey, good luck this year. How's the team look? There's a lot more of that drastically. Not a little bit more, a lot more than there was a year ago. But we got to, like, it's our job to continue to be seen, continue to be out on campus and being engaging. Our marketing team's done a good job of having a plan every week for where they would like me to be, as well as our players. There's farmers markets coming up, two of those dates in mid November and November 19th that will be participate. Like, there's a whole bunch of stuff that we're trying to be engaged with the campus community and then outside of campus. Anybody else got anything?
Yep. Anything else for Coach Musselman?
Coach, I know you talked a little bit about it earlier, but if you could give three keys to success on Monday's game, what would it be to pull out a win?
Okay, it would be a transition defense. Don't worry about your matchup. Get a guy early, high early hand closeout. Make all 3-point shots out of duress. Um, and then we want to try to play with more pace offensively. But if you look at Cal Poly, there's going to be a lot of 3-point attempts. We got to take those away. We got to declare the ball early. We can't allow driving kicks. You're going to have to stay a little bit more attached to your man than what human nature would tell you to be, because of their willingness to take so many threes.
Thank you.
If I can sneak one more question in, I
Keep
must.
them coming, Ryan.
I know we talked about the point guards, but in terms of questions that you have about this team coming into the season, obviously you were planning on having Elijah being a part of that picture. I can imagine that changes a lot of your, the way you think about this group. Like, what is your biggest question aside from maybe the point guard?
I just think offensively, um, is like we haven't. There's been so many misses by our opposition the last two games, so there is going to be some more offensive rebounding. Is that something we're addressing? Yes. Do I think it'll be a year-long problem? No, I think we have enough athleticism, length, toughness, grit to go get rebounds. We have enough athleticism to rebound out of our area. Um, I think right now the biggest thing is, Elijah's a great one-on-one player and can really create for himself and create for others. Um, so one-on-one ability, like when the shot clock winds down, obviously Chad's going to be put in positions to create for himself and create for others. Rodney will as well. And then having a third and fourth guy that do that. I think Ezra can beat people off the dribble. I think Jacob can do that as well. Jacob can be more of a 3-point threat than what we've seen thus far. And then Gabe around the rim, we need him to be dynamic at the dunker spot anytime we dribble penetrate. So I would say, I guess that's more than one concern, Ryan, but those are our concerns.
Coach,
Uh,
can you talk a little bit about Jaden Brunell? He hasn't played a ton in the first two games, but he did hit four threes, I think, over the course of the two games. Struggled a bit maybe on defense. What does he need to do to get a little more time on the court?
I would say rebound the ball, chase would be number one. Number two, guard in the half court to the best of his ability. He needs to get a little bit lower from a technique standpoint. He's a little bit too upright because we want him to move better laterally. But defensively, right now, he is our best shadow man. And our shadow defense is when you're guarding the inbounder full court and then you play cat and mouse with the point guard. He has done the best job as we've been able to go back and watch film. And when we've talked to the other two teams, meaning the LMU staff and Grand Canyon, both those staffs felt like we needed to play JB more. And we respect and wanted those opinions. And it's really good feedback for us to hear because my brain is constantly thinking about, loose balls and defense. And I do think when you hear that from opponents that we become much harder to guard when Brunell's in the game. So that was really good feedback that we got. Whether we listen or not, I don't know, but it's really good feedback.
All right, we'll take one more question here, guys.
um, Regarding Chad's usage in the exhibition games, he took a pretty high volume of shots. Is that something you foresee as being just a leader on this team, or was that more a function of, various injuries going on right now?
Sky, let me tell you one of the funniest things that I've ever heard in a timeout.
Okay.
So I think Chad took 21 shots in the last game. I've never had a player do this. He comes to the huddle and I'm drawing a play up for him. And he goes, Coach, I got four other guys on the floor with me. Which, I mean, he's basically telling me give someone else the ball. I don't know if he went out and shot again or not after that. But my point is, he has had high usage. It's not on him, it's on me. I was calling plays for him down the stretch, of both games. In game one, Chad did not play any point guard. In game two, I would say he played about 35% at the point. And that might be something that we evolve to as well if we want to have a really big lineup. Because Chad, at Auburn played the 2-3-4. And so if we move him to some one, that changes us on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively. But we were running Chad in a lot of pick and rolls for sure. Last game, and he's got to shoot a better percentage, or I got to, do a better job of calling plays in his sweet spot than what I did, the last game.